Welcome to Pon's overview of the Wisner HHTF mapping application. HHTF stands for the hunting, harvesting, trapping, and fishing. This represents the outdoor related leases within the Ed Wisner Foundation. Now this is our online web map application. You will need your web link to open this, as well as your Pond ArcGIS Enterprise username and password. Once those three things have been solidified, you'll be brought to this page here, and we'll look a little bit at some of the tools and how to navigate around. As you can see, you have your plus and minus to zoom in and out. Self-explanatory. You can also use your zoom wheel on your mouse. Also, I may say this online web mapping application is best used on a desktop or laptop. You can use it on your mobile, but your mobile has limited screen real estate and things become very cluttered, and that's why you're also using ArcGIS Collector for our field mapping uses. So here is our Extent and Home button. If we were to zoom in and we wanted to get back out, it brings us back to our original extent here. The leases, the outdoor related leases for Ed Wisner are contained in St. John the Baptist Parish, Lafourche, and Jefferson, and near the coast. This button here is your location services. So if you were mobile or your desktop, you were in a boat with a laptop or tablet or mobile device and your location services were enabled, you could click this and see a live point of your location. These are your bookmarks. I simply made these. You can add more. A bookmark is a place on the map in which you've zoomed to. You can save to get back for quick reference. I've made 3. So in St. John the Baptist, we have our Ed Wisner leases there, Ed Wisner leases in Jefferson Parish, and the leases at the coast area. We hit our extent, we go back. We next have our measuring tool. You can measure area and distance. So like anything else, you click area, you choose your units, and click anywhere on the map to make an area, and double click to end. There's your acreage. You can also do after the fact choosing of your units. So we'll clear. The line works the same way. Go ahead and change that to miles. Click one end, double click the other. Simple change units here. Clear. The editing toolbar we'll talk about in just a moment. The draw tool is a non-destructive way to draw shapes and lines on your map that does not affect any of your features or layers. Simply put, if we want to make a circle in a purple color, you can also change some of those settings here. You click, build a circle, boom, and it also tells you the area inside of the circle. You can also turn that off here, show area measurement, on or off. You can do a line in orange, boom, draw the line. You can all of these great things. And what's really neat about this is a great tool to use really quick. Again, that is non-destructive and does not affect any of the layers. So at a moment's notice, you can come down here and clear these. Boom, they're gone. The info tool tells you a little bit about Ed Wisner and the needing of the HHTF. online web mapping application for its lessees. Here you can pick your base maps. You have many to choose from. We are using the imagery with labels, National Geographic, oceans, open streets, terrain, and topographic. Choose any one of those. Again, here is your layer list. This is very important, as if you're a lessee that is down on the LA coast here, and this looks busy, and you are just interested in your fishing leases, you can turn what you don't want to see or make less clutter for on or off. So now we just have the fishing lease that you're concerned with. Okay, so you get the picture there. This is your layer list, and you can easily turn on or off these layers for better understanding and visualization. We also have included, that's not turned on by default, the Louisiana Wildlife Management Areas, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service boundaries, and we have Jean Lafitte National Park Service boundary in here as well. Turn those off or on. Then we just have a legend, which is basically the same thing as the layers list, but without any functionality. This is just a really good visual aid to leave up as you're working the map to see and visualize what exactly each feature is. Then we have a share button here, which you can share via link. Someone would also need to have a username and password to use this, but this is a way to share or embed the map. And then we have a print function, which is pretty basic. You have some sizes that you can choose in different formats, JPEG, PDF, and if you wanted to do an advanced map here, you can go into the settings and change the sizes. So that's a basic overview rundown of those tools. We're now going to get into the editing portion. So we have one layer that we use, the field points layer. And this is what the lessees will use to help and aid them in their day-to-day work and or recreation of their lease areas. And it's very simple. If we're out in the field, we come across an area of interest we want to save permanently. Let's say it's an area of interest for an oyster lease. We click and simply come in. Put right here is where I'm thinking about doing an oyster lease. You do have to fill out this date field, so please at least fill out the date field. Let's see, today is the 17th, and you could put a time if you wanted to. Of course, this is the area of interest. They have some notes. We'll just do a oyster lease, maybe. You never know what you write out in the field. There's also some comments. You can also upload a picture from your device or computer, or take a picture when you press this button here. So we're just going to delete that. And in the layer list, you have, of the field points, the possibles to use are the area of interest, blind, stand, trap, feeder, sighting, vegetation interest, other for anything that does not fit into this realm, or if there's a note to management to Ed Wisner, you can use that point, fish, nest, oyster, and reef. So you can use all of these tools to edit. And if you were in the field and placed a point here, and you came back home and wanted to log into the online web mapping application here, you would see your points that you created during the day. And you could either re-edit them, move them, erase them, delete them. So that is the editor in the nutshell. Two quick hidden features of the online web mapping application is down here. You'll see by the ESRI button, you'll see this arrow in the bottom right. That's an overview map. So that's a zoomed out version of your current view, which is highlighted here with this opaque, transparent box. And you can actually move this box within the overview window to get around. Okay? As you zoom out, the overview zooms out as well. So that is the overview window tool. We now have the coordinate tool here. When you move your mouse, it gives you your coordinates at that mouse pointing location. If you hit this little crosshair button, it locks it. You'll see it turns to like a cyan color. So now anywhere on the map, you can click. Now it's going to hold the coordinates of your area on that map. You can come down here and left click, copy and paste to a text, an email, or anything else that you need the coordinates for. While the crosshair is clicked and inactive, you can click anywhere on the map to get the coordinates. To uninitialize this, click the crosshairs again, and now you're back to your basic readout of your coordinates. We'll go back to your extent, and that is a quick overview of the HHTF web map application for Ed Wisner Lessees. Thank you. Welcome to the Wisner HHTF overview, introduction, and how-to the ArcGIS collector in the field application. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So in the field, you will use your ArcGIS collector app, which you can download at your operating system's app stores collectively. Just make sure there is an older version of Collector Classic. You do not want to download that. So it's ArcGIS Collector. We'll open it. You will be presented with this screen. We will want to use the sign in with ArcGIS Enterprise. Now you will need your email information for your web link and your username and password, so have that ready. So we'll go ahead and click this. Now you may have to type the URL for your web link in the first time, but as you can see, I've done that many times, so I have a recent of my web link, and this will be your web link as well. Go ahead and do that. We'll hit continue. You'll be presented with your ArcGIS Pond Geospatial Services login page. Go ahead and put your username and password in. Mine's saved. Go ahead and sign in. And boom, you will be presented with this screen with your maps and groups. Yours will probably look much different than mine. You'll probably only have the Wisner HHTF map and the Ed Wisner donation group, okay? So we're concerned with the Wisner HHTF map. At this point, go ahead and make sure that your location services are on. I'm not gonna do that now because I am in a room recording this video. Make sure that is on. Go ahead and press the map. Acquiring location. I don't have mine on, so I'm just going to say no thanks. Boom, there is your map. You can see the collector app is very minimal, and that is great. So we're going to go over a few things. At the top right, underneath the white heading, you'll see that is your location services or your GPS. So you can press that button to activate your current location out in the field. Let's go through, before we go through the creation and editing of being able to drop points on the dedicated HHTF field point layer, let's go through some of the top options on the top right in the heading. The little square diamonds, if you press that, these are your layers. So similar to the HHTF web mapping application that you've seen the overview video on, you can toggle which layers you want on and off for simplicity of visualization. Okay? And to get this white screen, it'll go down if you hit your back arrow on Android, or up at the top left for iOS to go back. You'll have a clean screen again. The magnifying glass is a search option. Probably will not use that a lot unless you know the name of a certain layer or place. So let's go into the 3-dot hamburger icon, is what we call it in the top right. Here's where you can change your base maps. So you have your default aerial, dark gray canvas imagery, imagery with labels, light gray, National Geographic, oceans, OpenStreetMap, your basic Google Streets, terrain with labels, and a topographic map. So you could change that if you'd like. Press back, go back to it. Your bookmarks. Sadly, you cannot create a bookmark here in the mobile collector app as you were able to create bookmarks on the web mapping application. Okay? But we'll show you in just a minute how we can utilize these My Places sections for more or less creating a bookmark. These are the 3 bookmarks that we looked at in the web mapping application earlier. Clicking on any one of these will bring you to those locations. Okay, come back. Legend is just a basic visualization of all of your layers, what they look like, to get familiar with the visualization of your layers. And then we can come to measure. This is the measure tool. We'll show you how that works. We'll zoom into something down here. You may notice this point here. This is just a test that I did earlier. So we're going to come into this measure tool. Let's measure the length or width of this camp here. So we're going to come into measure, click measure. And down at the bottom, you can see you can click area or distance. So if we do distance, you can also, on the bottom right, switch to, we're at a large scale, so let's click feet instead of miles. So with your finger, go ahead and get as accurate as you can to the corner of the, I guess you could say the top left of the camp. It's not the best, but it's a rough estimate. And of course, down at the bottom right, you can see 40.74 feet. Up at the top right, you have a location icon that'll put that will start the measurement from your location. Okay. The next back arrow is to undo a point measurement. So if I hit undo, it's going to go back to that first one. Go ahead and fix that. Okay? And then, of course, once you're done measuring, go ahead and hit the garbage icon to delete. And if we wanted to do an area, let's zoom in a little bit on the camp. We'll do an area. We'll do it not square miles, but let's do square feet. Come to the corner, come to this corner, and this corner. It's not the best, but there you have it. 1,333 square feet. Go ahead, and same if you do the back arrow up at the top right. If you mess up, you can keep going back. Then we can delete. To get out of the measurement, the top right arrow, just go back, and you are back to where you were. Okay, so those are some features there. Another way to create a similar type bookmark to get to a place faster is to long press anywhere on the map. You will get a little blue pin that drops. It's just a dropped pin. Now this pin is what we call non-destructive. So it's not actually being saved in any of the layers that are loaded in this map. It's just for a temporary holding, okay? But what you can do is raise this up here. You can do a what's here, but we're not really, we're out in the middle of the marsh. If we were in a city and dropped the pin and you had your location services on, it may show you some information. If we go back to details, you have your coordinates. It tries to tell you an address. You have collect here, which you can start an edit session here. You have directions to here from wherever you are. You have a compass, and you have add to my places. The compass feature is pretty cool to navigate to a point, but again, we are in an office and I need my location services to actually work to show you the compass. Literally, if you did press the compass, a rotating compass heading would show up over your map and your location and would actually spin and move as you move. But here's the add to my places. So if we add this to my places, we're just going to go to test. We'll just call it a test place, okay? Hit OK. Boom, we have a test place, okay? Now, if we go back into the top right, the three-dot hamburger icon, and we go to bookmarks, you'll notice it did not create a new bookmark, but in the My Places heading, we have a test place. And that marker will stay saved with the map. It is not part of a layer, but it is saved as a temporary marker, as a My Place marker. To the right of the test place, you have the three hamburger icon. You press that again, you can rename it, and we can remove, which I'll do. Okay? So now the bread and butter of the entire app is to be able to have you guys go out in the field, utilize your lease areas, and drop saved waypoints, markers, GPS points on the map, which gets saved in a layer permanently. So we'll go ahead and hit this plus button in the bottom right, the blue plus button. Now the only editable layer that you guys will be able to utilize is the field points layer. And here we have a list. Same thing as we went over in the web map application earlier in that overview. Your general, your area interest, blind stand, sighting, feeder bait trap, vegetable, vegetation interest, nest, fish, and oysters. We should have did a blooper video with this at the end as well. Reef and to management. These are a little bit different from the web map application overview video because I've edited and added a few, okay, to have a broader selection for what you guys may need out in the field. So notice that we now have a circle with a crosshair. So now we are able to zoom in. Let's say we wanted to create a point right here in this little gap, right there. We go ahead and click one of these, let's call it a general. So boom, I just created a general. If I kind of move it out the way, you see the icon now. I created a general field point. So right here, You can take a photo or attach a photo. So think about this. If you're in the field, you don't have any photos, and you want to take a photo, you can go ahead, go into take a photo, go ahead and click the button. It takes the photo and holds it. You see the blue check mark. Click the blue check mark again, and that will attach the photo to the field point. Later, if you, let's say you come back home and you want to get on the desktop or the laptop to go into your web map application, you will see the new field points icon general, and you'll be able to see the photo and download it as well. Now, if you already have photos saved from a prior shoot, you could also use the attach function. So record video or go to your photo gallery. So we're not going to do that. So here we're still in the collection process of the point. It wants you, please go ahead and put a date in. So we'll put the current date in. Notice how it is, the interest type was general, because that's the marker that we picked. Notes, we'll go ahead and put general, locale, test. And then if you want to put some comments like let's see, muskrat mound here. You can also give this point the name. So if you give the name, this is part of what I edited, so this will show up. So let's give the point a name. Let's call it Muskrat Heaven. Okay. Now you see we're done. Up at the top right, you'll have a check. Go ahead and hit the check. Boom, and notice the general point, if we hit on the back, now has the general interest type marker symbol, and it labels it with the name from the attribute field, Muskrat Heaven. So let's say we say, no, let's go ahead and edit this. So how to edit a point that's already been collected, click on it the best you can, come back up into it. You'll see down at the bottom left you have edit and copy and delete. I don't know why you'd use copy. I wouldn't get into the using copy often. I would create new points instead of using that. You can also delete the point there, but let's go ahead and edit this. So when we hit edit, notice we have the circle with the crosshair again. So now we can go ahead and move it, and the muskrat mound was right here because, you know, they had two little inlets, little gaps here, and we realized it was the wrong one. So let's put the crosshair on this one because this is where the muskrat mound really is. Notice on the blue heading it says update point. Now if you watch the general pink icon point, when I hit update, let's see what happens. All right, we updated the point and it moved it to where it needed to be in the correct location. You can go ahead and check this. You can put a new date and time if you want. You could change the notes if you want to change the name from Muskrat Heaven to Muskrat Harvest 1. Go ahead up in the top right again, click check. Your back button on your phone, and boom, you'll see it has edited the point and moved it and created Muskrat Harvest 1 as your name. Now if you didn't want any names in here, you could simply come to edit, go to edit here, lift this up, go to name. You could just call them numbers, or you could leave it blank and hit check, and you just have a point without any text. Okay? And that is generally the basic overview of how to create, edit, and delete your field points that you will use in your maps. This was a quick overview tutorial of the ArcGIS collector application for the HHTF Wisner map. My name is Scott with Pond. I'm a GIS analyst. If you have any questions, please send them to Ed Wisner and Miss Amanda, and we'll do our best to help you guys in the future. Thank you very much.